Hi, everyone, and welcome to Studio Jake. I am very excited today. I have a very special guest. Before we get started, just a reminder to like this video, share it out, leave a comment, let us know what you think about the conversation. I'm going to skip all the other do's and don'ts of this because I want to jump right into my interview with film producer Krystal Vayda. She has her hands in a bunch of projects. She's been a director of a short film. She's worked in television. She's also been an actress. But today, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But today I want to ask her about her new film, Dreamcatcher, which she is producing. Krystal, welcome to Studio Jake.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you so much for having me. How's it going?
It's going great. And I wanted to, we're going to dive right into this because I was fortunate enough to see Dreamcatcher. And it is a very stylistic sort of horror film. And normally I'm not a big fan of horror. I tend to be more like the thriller type. But this one I really appreciated its kind of unique flair. I really like the direction that the film went. And I'm just curious. And what can you tell us a little bit about some of the ideas that came as far as?
Sorry, you cut out there.
I was just saying, what can you tell us about the film, about where the idea came from, and how you got involved in the project?
Yeah, okay. So we've been working with the writer-director. My brother Brandon is my producing partner. And so we're the ones with the production company called Kortso Studio. So this is our first film with under our new banner. And we developed a really lovely relationship with our writer-director of Dreamcatcher. His name is Jacob Johnston. And if you don't know him, you will, because the kid I call him a kid. He's a genius. He's so smart that anytime I get to hang out with him, which is all the time, I just love to sit and be you get that feeling sometimes when you're around somebody like their energy is just a bit different than the rest. And I really get that from Jacob. Like, not only is he my friend and I like him, like I just love him. And I'm really excited that he's getting this opportunity with Dreamcatcher because he deserves it. And so going back to 2013, 2014, I created a murder mystery, co-wrote it with a friend of mine. We got it to a place, and I think we might shoot that film next, but we got it to a place where it was pretty solid. But it's more in the realm of I don't know if you've seen the movie The Skulls or okay, so
yeah, I'm familiar.
It's kind of in that world, or Rosemary's Baby. There's elements there, so it's very different from Dreamcatcher. And Jacob came on and really took that script to the next level. So our relationship starts way before Dreamcatcher.
Oh, wow.
He was working when we met him at a mutual friend's barbecue here in Los Angeles. He had the same taste and vision as what Brandon and I had always set out to do. And so with developing that film and getting to where we were with Dreamcatcher, we came to him and said, "Hey, look, we have this amazing house. We really wanted to do an ensemble piece for this generation." And so we kind of started brainstorming and whatnot, and he pitched us a couple ideas. And but when he came back, and I love the title Dreamcatcher, I just had a connection with it. So I gave him kind of like what I had. Brandon gave him what he had and said, this is what we want. We like to give Jacob that flexibility. And he came back and he called us up and he said, "Hey, what about this?" And he pitched it to us, and we were just like, yes. So I knew we were going to be able to accomplish it because Jacob worked at Marvel Studios for close to 8 years. And he started very young and worked his way up very quickly. And he was eventually the lead visual producer over there. So what you see with Dreamcatcher is a lot of his influence from working with the guy who created with him our mask. DJ Dreamcatcher's mask was a guy who does most of the stuff for Marvel, and same thing with the facility that manufactures the outfits and the costumes made our Dreamcatcher mask. So and the visual effects team, he came with an army, and along with our army, you got sort of this new current day mix, which is definitely an ode to like the 90s films. Like we wanted that cool 90s. We were all 90s kids and inspired by those types of films, and we wanted
90s kid right here.
yes, I loved it. The Craft and Final Destination, the school teaching Mrs. Tingle. You know, that was a very those were very common back in those days. You get, you know, a lot of actors were able to get their big break off of being cast. And I know what you did last summer, Scream, and then these actors went on to have amazing careers. And so we felt very comfortable doing that, and we felt like, look, EDM, cool underground music festival downtown LA with a cool mask, with a different. We won't get into we won't spoil the movie, but with the twist that, as far as we know, it hasn't been done yet. And so we went to work and we really developed it, and we said, you know what, let's just go. If we're gonna go, we can't hesitate and we can't like question it. We have to just go for it, and we did.
Nice. And like I said, it came off really well. And one of the things that I really appreciated about the movie is, now I don't want to give spoilers either. It's brand new, and I'm totally against spoilers for brand new movies. But one of the characters talks about the story of Faust, a man who sold his soul to the devil, on one hand, and then that same character talked about the Dreamcatcher, where the film gets its title, and how the Dreamcatcher is meant to ward off evil spirits. And I thought that was really interesting, how you had two conflicting ideas there: the idea of a man selling his soul to an evil spirit, and then an instrument used to ward off evil spirits, bringing in two conflicting influences. And I really like that idea of the film. That was a really good supernatural twist to it. And I'm a little curious, was the movie always meant to be sort of a supernatural horror, or did it evolve into that? Because I know obviously scripts go through rewrites, and I'm a little curious on that process, because I really liked the way it turned out in that realm.
Thank you so much for noticing that. That's a huge compliment to us, because we worked really hard to that was the plan. And
Oh, good.
sometimes when you make a picture, there's so many factors, because it's such a big team from A to Z to get to the ending. Sometimes the narrative can go in a different direction. So to answer your question, that was always the storyline. Now Jacob, he wrote his first draft in, I want to say, 17 days, which is very fast. I think that's very fast.
That feels like a record.
I think so. Well, because we gave him a lot of, we're like, we need this yesterday. and then he had a lot of rewrites, but the bones were there, the structure was there, the characters, you know, with everybody wanting something different, with everything that each character was sort of going through. And character development to us is everything. And Jacob is such a phenomenal writer that, you know, he really puts his foot down, because the movie was 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours, 15 minutes. And your average horror films, the sweet spot is 1 hour and 35 minutes. So, but with him, he would always say, like, no, because we have to have character development. People, and so, try tapering, it's like crafting like a sculpture. You just have to kind of go a little bit at a time to make sure that you don't jeopardize the integrity of the script and the storyline. So, we got it to a place that we feel very comfortable, and here we are.
You're not just the producer on the set; you also have a role in the film, and I'm curious, what drew you to this movie as an actress, as honing your acting craft? Because I'll see all the time where actors will star in their film. I interviewed a gentleman previously who he had written a film and he had starred in it, and for him that was his baby. He had written the movie. But I'm curious about you being a part of the project from the production side, and then you're also part of the cast. What was that like?
It was, so I'm at the point where, and everybody's different, every filmmaker is different. Producing is a lot of work. I mean, it's your everything. You're the business person. You're literally everything. And so I haven't gotten to the point with my producing career that, there's so much money on the line here. And it was our production company's movie, like new movie company's movie debut, Jacob's debut as a director. A lot was on the line, and I didn't want to bite more than I could chew. And so I knew I wanted to be a part of it and make an appearance and drop in and say hello, because I think that's pretty cool that Hitchcock used to do that, Wes Craven used to do that, because at when I'm an old, grandma one day, great grandma, I think it's really cool to be able to reflect into my career and pop in a movie at any point and say, or show my grandkids, or that's what I was doing during those years. And so I definitely wanted something, but I also, look, as we move forward, I'll probably take on different sizes, but I feel very happy with the appearances that I made, and I felt like it wasn't distracting by any means, and I was able to, I think, because of the choice that I chose, I'm very happy with it. But I think that the respect level was there from not only the cast but the crew.
And with working, if I'm trying to think of a good way to word this. Sometimes I get a question, but then when I'll word it this way: with Dreamcatcher, what are you hoping that when the audience goes to see, what are you hoping that they walk away from after the credits start rolling and everything? What are you hoping that is their takeaway from the film?
I hope that they really question, like, what did we just watch? Because it appears like it's this shiny movie that has, it is a slasher. It is a slasher film, and we didn't reinvent the wheel by any means. However, we really are proud of it. We put a lot of work, and thank you for saying that it's a stylized film, because that was all of our work put into it, and it was really planned out. Brandon and I and Jacob, we really, that was the vision. That was it all along. Everything from the wardrobe to the music to the casting to the lighting. And, we knew that we had to get it right, specifically with the party scenes. If you're going to throw an EDM music festival in a movie, you have to get it right, because you're going to start offending people. You're going to start offending those professionals out there. So you're starting to do a little bit of cross-pollination where you're pulling in different worlds. And it sort of became like a French braid, if you will, where you start kind of like pulling in these different industries under one umbrella. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that, because it felt like an all-star team where everybody was so good and everybody was so skilled in whatever department or profession that they were contributing, that it always felt like we had so much momentum and so much strength, because everybody would come up to bat and like just deliver. And so I think it gave us the endurance to go all the way through, because we're an independent film, and it's exhausting when you're an independent film. There's a lot of obstacles that come along the way, and I think we had so much passion. We had so many cool artistic people that really had the love and the passion for what it is that you do. I think that's why Dreamcatcher came out the way that it did.
And you can definitely tell that everyone, like you were saying, from the costume people, from the production side, from the directing side, everyone put their best foot forward. Because speaking as an indie writer, I publish indie novels. You definitely know you don't have that big financial deep pockets that like a major studio production was. So to put something together like how Dreamcatcher did, it's impressive, because like I said, if there's a mistake, that covers deep pockets can fill it if it's from a big production company. But indie, they have to, as you know, obviously, you have to get everything right start with, because you don't have those deep pockets. And some people wonder, like, what do you think separates like an indie film from a big budget production? What do you think makes them stand apart? Because to me, indie films always have a certain spark to them that I think is different. I'm not going to say that's missing, but it's different than like a big budget production. Why do you think that is? And I think the audiences can feel that as well.
I always say love, for sure. I think love is such a strong everything. I think it is everything. And when indies are usually passion projects, and people, each filmmaker has a different story of how they got there. And so to even finally get there, it's a big deal. It's a big milestone to even to get the financing or to get in the position to do it. So I think it's blood, sweat, and tears. You're working your tail off, and you have to make those phone calls, and you have to get those favors, and you have to, really sacrifice. And I think with Dreamcatcher, we not having a big budget was almost the biggest blessing, because we were forced to think outside the box. And I think that when you do have the luxury of and a financial backing from studio, wherever, it's too easy to add to what you're saying. It's very easy. Let's just call somebody. But if you don't, it's like, okay, well, we don't have the money. So let's, who's in the idea department, and best answer wins.
You're right. And I want to kind of pivot a little bit, because I want to ask you about sort of your upcoming projects. You mentioned one a little bit earlier, one that's going to be, it sounds like, from what you said earlier, it sounds like another supernatural thriller. What's coming down the pike for your production company? Tell us what you can. I know you can't expose everything, but tell us what you can.
Sure. March 5th, it's right around the corner, and then everybody can have a crack at and their own interpretation, their own takeaway from it. But look, we want to tell cool, young adult, hip, like trendy films, introduce new faces to the world, give up and coming actors their break. I love that personally, because being in front of the camera, being behind, it's tough out there. And until somebody is willing to give you that big break, I find it personally very, it's the best feeling in the world to be able to make that decision, and you can see that you change people's lives. So I really like that, being able to help give back by talking about topics that are difficult, that parents don't want to have, and people don't want to have in general, because they're embarrassed or whatever it is that they're going through. We need to have these conversations. It's 2021. Like, you can't not talk about difficult conversations, because the results are terrible. So if we can express ourselves through motion picture and be able to have our fun and do what we love to do, but at the same time, if we can connect to an audience and people can feel that they can connect and relate, then I'm a very happy person. And
you have sat behind the director's chair for a short documentary film, I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, is there another director's chair in the future for you? I'm very curious about that.
That's a good question. People have been asking me that. I don't see it in the near future, but never say never. I think that I'm born to produce. I could do it in my sleep. I'm really good with high pressure, and so that's where I am currently. And look, if everything goes well and I end up having a fantastic career with acting and producing, then maybe one day I will say, why not? If I feel like I can.
Well, that's great. And where can people Dreamcatcher? Where can they catch it? No pun intended. When it's ready for release.
Yes, go get it. It's on everything. It's on iTunes. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on all digital platforms. VOD for now, and then we're talking about putting it in drive-in theaters, because it's a total film that would do really, really well there. And so look it up, Dreamcatcher the movie. There's an Instagram, there's a Twitter. You can also find me at Krystal Vayda on Instagram or Twitter, and find it through that way. But it's all over the place. There's web. You can see the trailer on YouTube. Just look it up. It's out there.
That's fantastic. And Krystal, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. I always love having indie filmmakers come on and talk about their projects. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. This has been so nice of you, and I love it, and I appreciate your attention.
And to everyone else, you can find me. All my socials are in the description. I will link a link. I will link the trailer to Dreamcatcher up here in the corner, so you can check it out for yourselves. And I highly recommend you give it a watch, especially if you're a fan of horror films. Coming up next, I will be talking about Breaking the Stars, my newest novel. That'll be in the next video. So until next time, just sit back, relax, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.